This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Dolphin Don says hodl to the East. Hell yeah. The hodl and steak. Hodl and steak. So that way when it's trading sideways, I'm gaining 6.5%. Some people are worried it's going sideways. I'm not, because I'm still gaining while I'm at it. So hodl and steak when it comes to crypto, and you'll be fine. All right, let's go to Joe Schad, baby. Our American Dream Lending Miami Dolphins report. How you doing? Good morning, sir. How was your New Year's Day?
Good morning to you. It was nice. Spent with family.
All right, that's good. That's good. What was the spread like, bro? Give us a play-by-play.
We actually went out to a restaurant in Boca Raton. That's a hike for you, but it's got like a Key West vibe. We had some grouper and some snapper and some crab cakes. Really
What's the name of the
enjoyed it.
place? What's the name of the place?
Luffs.
Lux, like Lux?
Luffs.
Oh, Luffs. Oh,
Have you heard of it?
No.
Excellent.
Luff.
Luffs. Luffs in Boca. Near Meisner. Very, very good.
Okay, Luffs. Okay, all right. So does it look like the kind of place that I could do a radio show from?
I don't know. It's
too highfalutin.
Well, they have a lot of outside seating. I think they would be an awesome sponsor. We'll see.
Okay. Well, there you go. We're gonna have to visit Luffs there, so we can have some. I mean, Sean's already intrigued. I mean, right away, you mentioned some food, especially seafood, and really, it's not what you think. It's just Sean is whatever food he sees, he just eats. So it's just really one of those kind of deals. Anyway, there you go. All right, follow my man Joe Schad on Twitter, by the way, at Schad Joe. Joe, they got some good news yesterday in Brandon Jones and Butler also getting activated, and also good news that Julio Jones did not get activated. I know Bud Dupree did too, and so did their defensive end. But, overall, some pretty good news for the Dolphins yesterday.
Yeah, Julio Jones has not had the type of season that the Titans were hoping for, but certainly a complementary weapon. When you're going against Xavier Howard and Byron Jones, you'd like to have two established wide receivers. I'm sure Ryan Tannehill would. But yeah, having Brandon Jones back gives them a lot of versatility, flexibility. Eric Rowe certainly would have been competent opposite Javon Holland, but Brandon Jones blitzing Ryan Tannehill is something that Dolphin fans probably dreamed about at some point this week. And Adam Butler is kind of, under the radar guy, but a guy who can create some inside pressure. And the Dolphins have been so dominant with that defensive line rotation that having Butler available it's a plus.
Yeah, no, I wasn't happy with Butler early on, but he actually the last few games before he went out, he was really productive overall, helping out. I believe he even batted some passes too. So Butler was making an impact in multiple ways. I was actually impressed with him. But Brandon Jones, what you mentioned now, no, I'm good. What you mentioned about Brandon Jones with the blitzing, that's going to be so important. Joe, how do you feel about this? Because some people say that Tannehill's good against the blitz, but how can you be the second most sacked quarterback in the NFL? How can we say all the time he doesn't have pocket presence? So is he good against the obvious blitz, the one he actually can see, or that because the ones he doesn't pick up? I mean, it happens all the time. You saw it with Miami. We've seen it with Tennessee. I'm pretty sure we'll see it today. I'm just wondering how do you view that? Because I find that an interesting thing that people throw out there when he's constantly sacked a lot.
Well, Tannehill is a smart guy. We
Yes.
knew he was a smart guy as a Dolphin. But the thing is, just because he knows he's in trouble doesn't mean that the running back, the tight end, the offensive lineman, that they're all either on the same page or capable of blocking the numbers that are about to come. So, Tannehill has improved in many ways since leaving the Dolphins. But he's been under assault throughout the year, and there's no reason to believe that the Dolphins shouldn't try to attack Ryan Tannehill today. This is not a quarterback who you fear. There's only a couple of quarterbacks in the NFL who you truly fear
Amen.
blitzing. I think of Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes. Those are guys that you say, you know what? We really have to be careful about how much we blitz. Ryan Tannehill, not the case. Bring the house. If you're going to go down fighting, go down with the identity that you've established.
You kind of feel that the same game plan they had against the Ravens is what you institute today, kind of a disciplined pass rush, so you don't allow him to beat you with his legs, but still kind of keep him in the pocket because guys like Lamar and Ryan aren't really pure pocket passers.
Yeah, I mean Tannehill can beat you with his legs, and that's something that we shouldn't forget. We saw
Last
him.
week, last
We
week,
saw what's that?
last week
Yeah, we saw him.
had the big run.
And the Dolphins obviously catch a break with Derrick Henry being out today. That is a huge break, but this is not an easy game. A.J. Brown is a difficult cover. I found it interesting that this week Xavier Howard talked about, hey, when I matched up with A.J. Brown, I don't necessarily want to get involved in a physical matchup with him. I might approach covering him a little bit differently. He was making the point that you don't want to just try to out-muscle A.J. Brown.
You can't.
You want to try to use some tech. And that's an underrated thing about Xavier Howard. People say, oh, well, he has great instincts and he's physical, and that's true. But he also has a really good technique. And he has studied A.J. Brown, and he will have a good plan.
Yeah, that to me, Joe, that's the whole game on defense. Obviously you got to pressure Tannehill, and you got to obviously stop Foreman and don't let any of the running backs get any kind of confidence. I get that. But and I know, and the world knows that the ball is going to A.J. Brown, and it's going to go to A.J. Brown several times, and he loves to throw that slant to A.J. Brown, and X is right. There isn't a corner on the planet that can get physical with that guy. I don't know. I don't know if there maybe a Ronnie Lott or something. I have to go back and think of a really big, strong safety that had cover skills that could hang with that guy physically. I don't remember a lot of those kind of guys, in the history of this league that can do stuff like that. So, how do you defend him? Do you have X underneath? Do you have Devon Holland bracketing him over the top? And then let everybody else one on one. How would you attack AJ Brown if you agree with me that that's really the centerpiece of how you're going to stop that offense today?
Well, I mean, Xavier Howard has shown throughout his career that he can, match up with almost any receiver one-on-one. And so I don't think he's a guy who needs much help. When Howard has been exploited in his career, which is very few and far between those instances, he's been burned by deep speed. And Brown is fast, but this is not the fastest player in the NFL. This is not Tyreek Hill. So one thing I'll say is I think that this will be a low-scoring defensive game. I think that Brian Flores and Josh Boyer will have a very good game plan for Ryan Tannehill and A.J. Brown, even though they had less time to prepare than the Titans. The Titans had a mini bye. The Dolphins had a shorter than usual week. So that's not helpful. It's not ideal. But the fact that the Dolphins took a late season bye has proved helpful, and that other than COVID, they're a healthy team right now, knock on wood.
Well, for me, you've got to try to disrupt that guy, man, somehow or another. Although, Joe, you have to admit, this year X has been taken advantage of several times. And there's been a lot of crossing routes that he's gotten burned with this year. He's given up, I think it's like at least 6 touchdowns this year. So he has been susceptible to getting burned this year, especially on some of those crossing routes, because I've watched it myself this year.
Earlier in the season, X had some trouble. He had to shake off some rust. I think over the last 7 games, he's been really, really good, like almost on the same level as his peak performance. So I think, A.J. Brown, Xavier Howard, certainly an interesting matchup to watch. Again, I think this game, I don't think either team exceeds 24 points. I went Titans 22, Dolphins 21. I hope I'm wrong. It's just going to be tough. It's 4. I'm not there, but it's 40 degrees. There's going to be some sleet, some snow. Dolphins have not historically played well in very cold temperatures. I hate to bring this up, but I watched Tua Tagovailoa, and I was thinking about this earlier today. He had a very poor practice and some heavy rains. Do you remember that? A lot was made about that.
Oh yeah. You're right.
5 interceptions.
Good point. Yes.
And I'm not suggesting that means that Tua is prone to throw 2, 3, or more interceptions today, but it's going to be interesting to see how Tua handles the weather and how much offensive coordinator George Godsey asks him to do in the air.
All right, so we'll go in this direction now. Obviously, stopping AJ Brown's a key. Putting pressure on Tannehill and forcing him into mistakes is a key. But then the other big factor in this game is Miami's offense against that Tennessee front. And Joe, Miami can't carry. The offense can't carry the team. That's not what they do. But they've got to stay away from the mistakes and the turnovers, obviously. What's the threshold in points? What kind of points does the offense have to somehow figure out to score today to kind of put the team in a position where maybe maybe you're like me, you think the defense is going to help you out with one of those scores. So what do you think the offense needs to come up with today? Because that's got to be the key, right? It's Tua and the offense against that defense.
I think 27 points would win the game. I think 27 points wins the game, maybe 26. That's kind of where I think the game is going to land. I think Tannehill is going to play well today. I think and it's interesting, Dolphin fans, I asked them, how do you feel about Tannehill's career in GIF? And their responses were so interesting in terms of, some people felt, hey, you gave all you had, all respect, mad respect. Others felt, you were a failure. So the disparity, Tannehill would not suggest that today's a revenge game and that there's a revenge factor, but
please,
I would suggest that he and his teammates and coaches are fully aware of the fact that Tannehill was traded for not much.
Yeah, and by the way, the revenge factor is only on one side. The players on this team don't give a crap about that. Most of them weren't around for any of it. They don't really have any tie to this guy. To them, it's just another game. It's interesting because the players on the field really have nothing to do with anything going on here. But for Ryan, this has got to be a personal matchup for them because he can kind of stick it to them and take them out of the playoffs practically.
Yeah, and Ryan is a good guy. He did decline to speak with Dolphins media this week, including me. To my knowledge, he did not speak with anybody in the Dolphins media. So I think he wanted to just sort of, focus on the game and but he was a pleasant guy to deal with. A little vanilla, a little robotic. It'll be interesting to see if
it's kind of weak that he doesn't want to talk to you guys, but that's whatever. That's
the NFL changed their rules.
That's soft.
We used to get one opposing player available to the media and the opposing coach, and that has stopped even in this Zoom era. So,
can you imagine Brady not talking to the Patriots press? Come on, dude, give me a break, bro.
Did he? I don't know if that would be interesting.
He did. He did. He talked to him.
Really? He did. He did a group media
on the week that he. Of course, he did. Yeah, on the week that they played. Yeah, he talked. Why wouldn't he talk?
It's interesting. It's interesting that happened, and it's interesting that that you really do pay attention to a lot of stuff.
Well, it's my job. I have no choice. I have to watch everything that goes on. Not just you guys. See, for beat writers, people don't understand your jobs. You guys have no lives, and you don't really get to watch the NFL because you're constantly covering the team. You're watching the game at 1:00. Then between 4 and 7, while everybody else watching the other games, you're covering the team, doing the interviews, writing the stories, making phone calls. People don't realize how tedious beat writing is, that it just takes away. And whether you're a basketball writer, whether you're a baseball writer, whether you're a hockey writer, it's the same problem for all beat writers. Covering your team takes up almost all of your time, that when you do have time off, you're not going to sit there and watch more football. you're going to be with your family and your kids, and you're going to do things that normal human beings do, like the rest of us do. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think people realize how tedious your job is, Joe.
Well, when I covered college football, I participated with my friends and some family members in an NFL fantasy football league.
Ah, you were busy on Saturday, not Sunday.
Yeah, the reason was I was able to actually watch the NFL Sunday Ticket. Once I returned to the NFL, I had no interest in participating in fantasy football. I don't get
You're at a
to really watch the game.
disadvantage. You're at a disadvantage. You're not watching the games, dude.
Yeah. By the way, I got to roll in a minute because the inactives are out. Savan Ahmed,
Yep.
Hunter Long, Vince Beagle. Those are the key names on the list. Ahmed has obviously fallen out of favor with the arrival of Philip Lindsay and the emergence of Duke Johnson. Hunter Long is an interesting one. We obviously, for good reason, rip the selection of Noah Igbenogany. Hasn't done anything yet. Hunter Long has not done anything yet in his first season as a third-round draft pick. So
I don't blame him. I mean, it's just, when he gets to actually play, then we'll judge him. It's not his fault they drafted him to a team that has a bunch of tight ends, and they already have plans for him. My God, their best tight end, they put him on the sidelines at times. I don't even,
Yeah,
whatever.
Gesicki has been outsnapped by Durham Smythe a lot recently.
It's ridiculous. That shows why.
It shows you how badly they want a blocker as opposed to a receiver.
Also,
it's really interesting to see. This is the last point I want to make. I was listening to Zach Taylor, the former Dolphins assistant, now the Bengals coach, who everyone made fun of. And now it looks like he might end up being fine as the head coach of the Bengals. It helps when you get Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, two guys who, to be honest, would look good in any color uniform. But he said, listen, we're playing the Chiefs today. I told my guy Joe Burrow, be aggressive, get after it, go for it, do your thing. I don't think the Dolphins are going to tell two of that, so we'll see.
No, I'm with you there. By the way, with damn, forget it. Forget what I was going to tell you. Anyways, I was going to tell you something, but I forgot. Anyways, so you got prediction? You got Tennessee winning today?
22-21. I hope I'm wrong. I think it's going to be a very good game. I think I think it's going to be a lot of conservative play. I mean, look, it's 40 degrees and they got sleet and slush and ice and snow. It makes me not feel so bad about missing Nashville.
Smart move, my man. Smart move. Follow him on Twitter at Schad Joe. Catch his work there at the Palm Beach Post. Joe, as always, thank you, my brother. Appreciate it.
See you, bud.
Got it. Thank you. All right, there you go. By the way, Trill Williams, Cameron Tom, and Darius Hodge are the other inactives, along with Savan Ahmed, Vince Beagle, Hunter Long. That is your American Dream Lending Miami Dolphins weekly report.